And energy markets are on the edge as Israel-Iran tensions escalate. Israel has struck a major blow to Iran's energy infrastructure, targeting the South Pars gas field, the world's largest, shared with Qatar. Well, a direct hit on Iran's onshore Phase 14 gas processing facility triggered a massive fire and forced the shutdown of an offshore platform, producing 12 million cubic meters of gas per day. Now, South Pars supplies nearly two-thirds of Iran's domestic gas, making this a critical hit to the country's energy backbone. Well, this is the first time that energy infrastructure has been directly targeted in the ongoing confrontation, signaling a dangerous new phase in the conflict. The fallout from the attack is already visible, both on the ground and in the economy. Shortly after the Phase 14 strike, a separate fire broke out at Iran's Fajr Jam gas plant, one of the largest in the country. Now, early reports point to hostile drones, though official confirmation is awaited. The damage comes at a time when Iran is already struggling with widespread power blackouts, costing the economy around $250 million each day. While these new hits further strain a system already under immense stress, experts are calling this the most significant attack on energy infrastructure since the 2019 Abqaiq strike in Saudi Arabia. Well, Iran's condensate exports to China and gas supplies to Iraq and Turkey now face potential disruptions. The impact is reverberating through global markets. On Friday, U.S. crude oil prices surged up to 13% intraday before settling near $73 per barrel. While Iran's limited export capacity and lack of LNG terminals may contain the global supply impact for now, the risk lies in escalation. The region remains critical. One-third of the world's seaborne oil passes through the nearby routes. Now, Israel analysts say is choosing economic targets carefully to pressure Iran without triggering a broad market shock. But the scope for miscalculation remains high. For now, traders, allies and energy planners are watching closely as the next move could reshape more than just the regional balance. And earlier, we were joined by defense analyst John Spencer, who spoke extensively on where this conflict between Israel and Iran is taking place. Listen to this.
It is the question. Because every time that Iran retaliates, and then Israel is retaliating in kind, and now you see Israel hitting oil and gas facilities, part of the infrastructure and economy of Iran. So hopefully, the objective will be determined by Iran and when they can either give up their nuclear bomb pursuits, because war is a contest of will. Of course, Israel has set the objectives, but that can be determined today, and why President Trump has said even right now this may force a negotiation that the Islamic regime was refusing to have. Let's negotiate. Give up your nuclear ambitions. There's no reason why they have any enrichment, and definitely no reason to have a nuclear bomb. And that's probably would be the point of where this ends. But continuing to retaliate against Israeli civilian sites, and maybe they're aiming for military sites like the Kiryat and Tel Aviv, but they're not hitting them, and they're missing and hitting civilian sites and sending the entire population of Israel into bomb shelters. The geography, there's some differences here, and I don't like when not you, but other media have said this is tit for tat. Israel has stated its goals. The Islamic regime in Iran has only said reckless statements about destroying the Zionist regime, destroying Israel, and then turning to the United States, who they view as supporting this operation. In my opinion, that would be the fatal mistake and would only escalate this, and would be the end of the regime if they decided to target a U.S. base or a U.S. vessel or something in the region.
He also spoke about the reasons as to why this conflict could escalate. Listen in.
There's three reasons that people go to war: pride, interests, and fear. So there is, of course, Islamic regime in Iran, pride, right, of being this hurt, elimination of 20 senior commanders, the head commander of the military, the head of the IRGC, the head of the Quds Force. There's a lot of pride there. But I do think that diplomacy, because if not, that number one interest that all nations and even terrorist regimes have, which is survival. you would think, and we apply this rational actor theory, that Islamic regime would say, okay, look, we want diplomacy and talk about a new negotiation, and maybe they don't agree to everything, but it's almost a rational actor theory. Like you need to negotiate because Israel is showing overwhelming. Israel controls Iran's skies right now. It has air supremacy, like you just showed. They're hitting the Ministry of Defense in Tehran. They have complete superiority over Iran's skies to hit what they want based on their objectives. And on the other side, Iran's 90% of their salvos that they can get off at this point are being defeated by both the Iron Dome, David Sling, Arrow 3, and U.S. forces deployed to the area, and more U.S. forces are on the way to assist defending American interest and in Israel, of course.
Spencer also told us whether Iran could strike U.S. bases, and this is what he had to say. Listen in.
Yeah, any more wars, although this was a preemptive strike, really to include a historical one, a preemptive strike based on intelligence, not just of Israeli intelligence, but I mean, President Trump gave Iran 60 days. This preemptive strike was on the 61st day. If Iran made that fatal mistake to hit it in a U.S. base, and the President Trump and U.S. officials have given plenty of warning, that would be a grave mistake. And while Israel is very powerful, it's not the United States military, it's not the United States Air Force, and that would be the end of the regime. It would seal its fate. And again, this is not about the Iranian people, but that would be a fatal mistake. And where that would lead to, as in U.S. involvement, direct involvement, right? This is where Iran is trying to say the United States is involved, and the United States says, we're not involved. It's not U.S. aircraft. Of course, U.S. are doing defensive operations on the ground. But if that calculus changes, then the whole strategic calculation of this war changes.